U18 National Team Development Program, defenseman Jake Sanderson. Jake, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Let's get right to the questions and start with Dave Stubbs from NHL.com. Go ahead, David.
Jake, we've seen some big-time performances on the blue line during the Stanley Cup playoffs, as we always do. Is there anyone defenseman who you're really studying in the final or studied in the earlier rounds, and what qualities would you want to absorb from him?
Yeah, I've been really watching Miro Heiskanen. He's somebody who I like to play like, just the way he skates, how mature he is, and he's just so efficient how he plays the game, and he's a very mature player for his age, even though he's one of the younger players in the league. He just plays very smart, and then also John Klingberg, I think he's, he kind of dances at the blue line, faking shots. That's something I try to do.
Jay, can you hear us? Oh,
yeah, sorry, did I cut out?
You're back. No, you're back. You're back. Okay, let's go to Ashley Sarge from Sirius XM. Go ahead, Ashley.
Jeff, how much has your father been an influence in you, and how much has he told you what to see ahead as far as being drafted and as far as going to a NHL camp, and how much has it changed between when your father played to today?
Yeah, my dad's been awesome. He's been here every step of the way throughout my life, just helping me with my hockey career, and he kind of introduced me to the game, so it's great having him. He just kind of tells me to enjoy the moment. It only happens once in your life, and he says getting drafted is kind of the easier part, but what comes after that is, the most important part in what you do with it.
Thank you, Ashley. Next question comes from Mike Moriali of NHL.com. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Jake. What do you feel are your greatest attributes in the game? And, how would you sell yourself to an NHL GM?
Yeah, I describe myself as a two-way defenseman. Somebody you could put in all situations on the ice, whether it's penalty kill or power play. I think I'm somebody that thrives in those situations, and I think I'm a unique player just because I can play that hard-nosed style defensive game, but also use my skating and use my skill and my hockey sense up the ice as well.
Thanks, Michael. Next question comes from John Warrow of the AP. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Jake. John Warren with the AP. I'm out of Buffalo, actually. How do you explain? Your dad grew up in Hay River, or is from Hay River, and you were born in Whitefish, Montana. Was that like a big summer home for you guys? And how did you develop from there?
Yeah, we've had our place in Whitefish for 20 plus years, and I was born there, and so was my older brother, Ben. So we kind of just grew up there when we were younger, and we kind of always go back there in the summers, just a little hideaway spot on the lake, go out on the lake and fish. And, it's a beautiful place. We go golfing a lot and get out on the water, like I said. And, it's just a beautiful place and really down to earth.
Thanks, John. Next question comes from Mark Scheig of the Hockey Writers. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, John. Just a couple part question here. How many teams have you interviewed with, would you say? Did you talk to the Blue Jackets? And if so, did they ask about your dad being a former Blue Jacket? And then what was the biggest priority of your offseason that you need to improve on?
I talked to the Blue Jackets. I actually did an interview with one of their media guys, I'm pretty sure. And he knew my dad pretty well. So it was kind of like a small world just because my dad knew him when he played there. And he finally got to interview me as I kind of growing up in the game. And when their season got canceled, I kind of been working on my strength, and I'm working on my skating as well. And something I've been kind of working on a lot is my one-timer, just because I feel as a defenseman, having a bomb of a one-timer and just keeping it consistent and having good aim with it is a really good asset as a defenseman.
Thanks, Mark. Next question comes from Ansar Khan of MLive.com. Go ahead, Ansar.
Yeah, hi, Jake. Just wondering, in your interviews with the Red Wings, with Steve Yzerman and Chris Draper, what stands out to you the most from those talks? And do you have any connections to the Red Wings organizations, any of the prospects that you know well?
A lot of the interviews are kind of similar. Just when they first interview, they kind of just get to know you, video chats, and just see what kind of character you have and where you come from as a family. And Probably connection with the organization. I mean, the only one I would think of is Cooper Moore. He's on our North Dakota team, and he was a 5th-round draft pick to them last year, I'm pretty sure. And Cooper's also a freshman as well, so I hang out with him a lot too.
Thanks, Ansar. Next question comes from Neil McHale of InsideHockey.com. Go ahead, Neil.
Hey, Jake, you've had a lot of time to think about this here. I'm wondering, how often you've thought about some of the teams that are picking in that, top half of the draft, and imagine what it'd be like playing in their sweater, or how much your families talk to you about it. How much that process been, by now you'd probably know, what team you were picked and what your shots were of making the team as well with training camp and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been a journey throughout my whole life. I mean, you kind of start hockey as it for fun, but as you get better and better and older, it kind of becomes a job, and that's something my dad kind of emphasized to me this year. Is, I mean, yeah, it's still fun, but it's also kind of turning into my job, and just to be drafted by a team. Obviously, I'm not sure what team it is yet. I'll be very grateful and very excited that that team wants me.
Thanks, Neil. Let's go to Justin Bradford from Penalty Box Radio. Go ahead, Justin.
Hi, Jake. So a lot of the rankings have you right around the spot where you might be taken by Nashville. And obviously Nashville's developed a lot of good defensemen over the years. So if you were to say be drafted by Nashville, what would that be for you, just to know you'd be going to a place that has developed a lot of great defensemen?
Yeah, being drafted by Nashville would be unreal. Obviously, seeing Roman Josi just won the Norris, so that's pretty cool. And he's somebody I kind of like to watch as well and try to implement some of his style of game into mine. And I mean, if I was drafted there, I'd definitely, see what Roman does. And, he seems like a very good captain and a very good professional, so that'd be super cool.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. Next question comes from Helene St. James of the Detroit Free Press. Go ahead, Helene.
Hi, Jake. You've been waiting 3 more months than normally for this day. Can you just describe what it's like now that the draft night is finally in sight? And secondly, just wondering with the Zoom calls with all the teams, were you nervous the first few times? How weird was it just to get the hang of it? I mean, instead of going into a hotel room and at the combine.
Yeah, I mean, when the draft was pushed back, everybody thought it was going to be in June, and when it was pushed back to a couple months, that was kind of frustrating, just because it's something you kind of look forward to all year. And even going to the draft, that was going to be in Montreal, just being there with my teammates, that would have been super cool. But obviously, we're not allowed to do that this year. But I mean, being drafted, it'll be the same either way. It'll be very exciting. And the Zoom question, I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking the first couple ones, but you kind of get more comfortable with yourself and kind of know what kind of questions they're going to ask you, and you kind of build a relationship with the organization, which is pretty cool.
Thank you, Helene. Next question comes from Amanda Stein of Devils.com. Go ahead, Amanda.
Hey, Jake, I was just wondering, I mean, you were talking a little bit about it before, but in terms of things going virtually right now, what's your plan in terms of where you're going to be, how you kind of want to celebrate the situation? And also another part to the question is have you met with New Jersey, and how did you feel that went, and what was the sort of impression that you got?
Yeah, so I'm planning on having the draft at the rink here in North Dakota, and hopefully my mom and dad and my older brother, I think, give them and enjoy the moment. I've interviewed with New Jersey twice now, and personally, I think they've been pretty well, but from their side, I'm not really sure, so I guess we'll just see and wait.
Thanks, Amanda. Let's go back to Mike Moriali from NHL.com. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Jake. First off, I think you broke up a little bit on that last answer on who is going to join you when you watch the draft. But also, my question was, how big a role did the U.S. National Team Development Program play in helping you become the player you are?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, I broke up there. Not great service here where I am. But I'm planning on having or being with the draft with my mom, my dad, and my older brother. And the NTDP, I loved it. I love my 2 years there. It's definitely a grind, and I don't think any other team, goes what we threw with our schedule, our international travel, and just our training there in Michigan. But I mean, it kind of developed me as a person. and with the professionals there, like the coaches, and obviously being there with the best 21 players at your age group in the country is really special.
Thank you, Michael. We'll take two more. Let's go back to Ansar Khan. Go ahead, Ansar.
Oh, no, sorry. My question was already answered.
No worries. Okay, well, let's clean it up with the great Dave Stubbs. Go ahead, David.
Well, I don't know how great this is going to be, but Jake, you were 5 when your dad retired. How much do you know about his career? Do you believe half the stories he tells you? And will there be any family bragging rights about where you might be drafted compared to him?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot when he was playing, but I remember living in certain places when I was younger, like St. Albert, just because I have family up there. And I remember living in Phoenix and Columbus as well. And the one thing I remember about him in his playing career is just he was a great skater, very talented on the offensive side of the game, and just, great goal scorer. And I don't know, if I'm drafted ahead of my dad when he was, maybe I'll give it to him a little bit. But I have too much to think of him, and he's been there every single step of my way. So
Thank you, David. And thank you, Jake, for taking the time. Good luck in a couple of weeks. Enjoy it best you can. Thanks again for taking the time tonight.
thank you so much.
Okay.